Why does time feel faster as we get older? When you were a child, summer could feel endless, but now you blink once and it is Monday. You blink again and another month is almost over, then another year. And at some point, you start to wonder, why does life feel like it is moving so fast? Does time really speed up as we get older? Of course, the clock does not actually change. A minute still has 60 seconds. A day still has 24 hours. A year still has 12 months. But the way we experience time changes a lot. It has to do with memory, attention, routine, and the way the brain records life. Because the time you live through and the time you remember later are not always the same thing. When you are a child, almost everything is new. Your first day at school, your first bike ride, your first vacation, the first time you sleep away from home. A child lives in a world full of first times, and the brain loves novelty. When something is new, the brain pays more attention. It records more details. It remembers colours, smells, emotions, faces, places, and sounds. That is why childhood can feel so long in memory. Not because it had more time, but because your brain recorded more scenes. Adulthood is different. You wake up, check your phone, go to work, come home, eat, scroll, watch something, go to sleep. The next day, you do almost the same thing. And again, and again. Your brain does not record every repeated day in detail. If you take the same road to work for the 500th time, your brain does not treat it like a new adventure. It says, "I know this already. We do not need to save every detail." And that is one reason weeks begin to disappear. Not because they did not happen, but because they did not leave a strong trace in memory. It is almost as if the brain compresses repetitive days. 5 similar mornings, 5 similar meals, 5 similar evenings. In memory, they become one blurry file called a normal week. And then you wonder why the week passed so quickly. There is also another simple reason. The older you get, the smaller 1 year becomes compared to your whole life. For a 5-year-old child, 1 year is enormous. It is 1/5 of everything that child has ever lived. For a 30-year-old, 1 year is a much smaller piece. For a 60-year-old, it is even smaller. So childhood can feel long because each year felt huge. Your life was still short, and every year took up a large part of your whole story. But attention also matters. When you are truly present, time feels richer. When you notice the world, talk to someone for real, learn something, travel somewhere, or do something new, your brain has more to record. But when you live on autopilot, time slips away. You can spend an hour on your phone and remember almost nothing afterward. You saw videos, comments, messages, ads, and memes. There was a lot of stimulation, but not many real memories. That is why modern life can make time feel even faster. Not because days are shorter, but because we often fill them with things we barely remember. In the past, people had more empty moments. They waited. They looked out of windows. They walked without headphones. They sat in silence. They got bored. And boredom, even though it can feel uncomfortable, gives the brain space. Today, we try to fill every empty second. Standing in line, phone. Riding an elevator, phone. Waiting for someone, phone. Lying in bed, phone. And suddenly, the whole day is full, but not really remembered. That is how a year can feel like it passed in a few weeks. Many days were similar, fast and distracted. The brain did not record them as separate chapters. It recorded them as background, and a life that becomes background starts to feel shorter. There is another part of this. When we are children, we wait more intensely. We wait for birthdays, vacations, holidays, school trips, new toys, and friends coming over. Waiting stretches time. A child can wait for a birthday as if it is 100 years away. An adult often barely notices it coming because there is work, bills, tiredness, and 1,000 small things to handle. When you are a child, the future feels huge and mysterious. When you are an adult, the future often becomes a to-do list. A child thinks, "What exciting things will happen?" An adult thinks, "What else do I need to deal with?" And slowly, days stop feeling like adventures. They become tasks. And if you are always waiting for something to be over, one day you realize that a lot has passed. Not just the week, but a piece of your life. So, can we slow it down? We cannot stop time. We cannot make a day have more hours. But we can make life more memorable. And when life is more memorable, it feels longer. You do not need to do something huge every day. Sometimes a small change is enough. Take a different route. Do something for the first time. Talk to someone without looking at your phone. Visit a new place. Learn something small. Stop for a few seconds and notice where you are. Your brain records life more strongly when something feels important, new, or emotional. That is why a short trip can feel longer than a normal week. New places, new food, new views, new conversations, a new rhythm of the day. The brain wakes up and says, "I do not know this yet. This is worth saving." Maybe the real question is not, why does time move faster? Maybe the real question is, why do so many days look so familiar that the brain has almost nothing to remember? Routine is not bad. Routine gives safety. It helps us live, work, and rest. But if your whole life becomes only routine, memory begins to shorten it. Days pass, weeks disappear, years blend together, and suddenly it feels like someone pressed fast forward. But time did not speed up. Life became less noticed. So, if you feel like time is moving too fast, do not fight the clock. Fight autopilot. Do something differently. Notice more. Put your phone away for a moment. Create a memory, not just another day to get through. Because time will pass anyway. The only question is whether your brain will have something to remember. Maybe childhood did not feel longer because time moved more slowly. Maybe it felt longer because we experienced more things for the first time. And if that is true, adult life can slow down too. Not on the clock, but in memory. You just have to give your brain a reason to start recording again.